This is Jim, Keypro Locksmith. You're looking at Eric. He's the Matrix Retro Whiz. So we're going to take this and convert it and put a new motor in it. So if you want to follow along, we'll show you how to do that.
Well, what you do is you remove these two screws here which hold the control board in place. Then you'll remove, there'll be 4 screws here and 2 in the front that'll hold the lid on.
One over here on the side. There's another one over here on the side.
You need to remove these 4 screws here so that this flap can lay open. It makes it more accessible and easy to work on.
So we got 2 screws here
and leave these 2 in
on
place.
the side. Leave these 2 on. Take these 4 off. Alright, so we're going to do that now. First we got to take off these 2 little screws. Then we take off the case screws. So we undo both of these. Put them right here so I don't lose them. And take off these screws here.
That's going to be a 2.5 metric.
2.5 metric, Eric says. I got this one over here. And take these 4 off too.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, there we go. We got some on the side here. We got another one on the side here. That one a little tight. And we got these 4 here. Alright?
Yes, sir.
So these are different sizes, so you gotta watch when you take them off. Some of them got washers and some don't, but I noticed these are smaller ones and these are longer ones.
The two
without washers.
The 2 with the washers will go here,
here, washer here,
and
okay.
Here, and the other 2 long ones will go in the sides here and there, and there'll be 4 long. All these 4 on the bottom are long, and the 2 up here in the top will be short.
Okay. Case screw. Take this one off. Is that all of them?
Mm-hmm. The lid will just come off now.
Okay, the lid comes off. Very good.
And now this will
lifts
lay
out.
back.
This lays
Now
back.
you can get that out of your way. And you won't need to unplug any of the wires because...
Just move them.
Right.
And then now we take this off.
Right.
And that's for these.
Now the first thing you want to do is take the belt off.
And the easiest way to do that is...
Just kind of pick up and turn.
Pick up and turn the belt and it'll come off.
There you go. Now the next thing what you'll want to do is you want to get either a pair of needle nose or you can catch it here. There'll be fan blades in the bottom. You can stick something in there just to catch the blade like that. And then what you can do is take your hand and it's reverse threaded so it'll actually come off pretty easily.
So we take this off. So you hold the fan down here and then unscrew this up here. Very good.
And you'll snip these plugs here. It'll be zip tie. You'll snip it here. You'll snip it here. Right.
Just cutting these ties off, not the wires. Okay.
Then you'll go ahead and unplug the blue from the top.
Unplug the blue from the top. Just lifts up.
Yes, sir.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
2 blue screws. Okay.
Okay, now what you can do is you can go ahead and remove these. And those are going to also be metric.
Metric. This size, yeah. Oh yeah, okay. Torqued on. You hear him snapping.
Before you get it fully removed, just make a note to self where they are now, and you'll see an impression mark of the washers where they are. So
what about if you took a little black marker and put a little black mark on
that
them?
would work also. But
so mark these 4 screws.
So
okay,
you hold
so
the
you got to
bottom
hold the bottom, with, you know, when you're taking them last screws out to hold the motor in there. Oh, I see, because that belt's got to be just the right position.
Right.
So you got to mark those really good so you make sure you get it back in exactly the same place.
You can leave those plugged in.
Oh, leave them plugged in.
Right,
You can just unscrew it. So we just take that screw out and set that aside, and
then the whole assembly comes out.
now we got the motor free. There we go. Motor's out. We're going to pause it and then we'll show you how to put the other one in. Alright, now we got the motors out and we got the new motor here and the old motor, and Eric's telling me, if you explain that again, Eric, on this housing.
Okay, we're going to need to remove these 4 screws here, but before you do that, make a note. You have the side that the plugs were held onto here, and you got a gold tab on your motor, and that's going to need to be put back on the same way so the length of the wires will be correct.
So you line this motor up the same
so
position.
Basically you just take this one off
So you
and
got
set
this
it back
tab
there.
and then this tab.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And basically what we're doing, because these don't come with a clip on them like these do, instead of putting clips, we just swap the housings out, these 2 plastic housings. So we're going to do that next. The way you do it is taking the last 2 screws out here, and then we're going to take this plate, this is the factory device here, holds the motor mount, and then transfer it over and line them up again, get the tabs the same. So we got this tab here and this tab here, and just take and move it over. Do that again, Eric. Take it off, move it over. So you got it right here. We're just going to take it and transfer it over to the new motor, make sure it lines up correctly, and tie it back down. And then that way.
And these holes are countersunk, so what you want to do is don't get one all the way tight. Just kind of run it down a little bit and get all 4 of them in there somewhat before you actually tighten it, and it'll self-center itself.
Okay. We put them 4 screws back in, then we're going to do the housing, the plastic housing. Okay, now we're going to transfer the plastic housing. He's taking off 2 screws here on the housing. And you can see at this point here, when we put the wrench and the pliers in there, we held this fan blade to get that top off. Remember, we put that wrench in there just to hold this fan blade. So now we just got to transfer, that way we keep these.
This wire will stay intact because it's part of the motor itself, but this is the wire that we're going to take because it's got the actual clip that we're going to need. So we just unplug it there.
So you don't have to do it with both wires, just the one wire?
Yes, sir, both wires.
You have to do both wires.
Right. The wire, there'll be one on each side.
Yeah, okay.
There'll be a darker blue, and they go into the sides here.
Okay, you just leave those in place and take the 2 with the connections on it. Now basically take this case off and put those wires on. They're just taking the same wires off that didn't have the connections on both sides. And you just trace it back to find out, make sure you got the right wire, and then putting on the ones with the connections. Alright.
There we go.
Alright, now we're going to put the new motor back in. And what I'm going to do is just put 1 screw in there to hold it until I get the other ones in there. You don't want to tighten them down until we get them all lined up. On Eric, come up here and point down, we see these little marks right here. Probably get up here on the top and point straight down. See the little circles, you can tell where those previous connectors were, so that the belt lines up correctly with the right tension. Make sure it's sliding, and then just line it up so it goes right back with that same impression mark that it made when you took it off on both sides.
You can see the impression marks on this side.
And
right there.
And right, I think we're good here. We got the 4 screws tightened down. Remember, we watched this little shadow, make sure that this thing is exactly in the same position it was. So I put this back on the case right here where we took it off of. Oops. The other one?
The other one's right here.
There it is. Plug the other one in.
That's it.
Snug it up.
And just catch these wires here, right there.
You catch them in this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Put the zip tie back on, clip off the excess.
And just these 2. You can leave those others out.
These 2 together?
Yes, sir.
Leave the others out.
That'll work. Now we'll put the wheel back on here for the belt.
Hold the fan in the bottom and a reverse thread And screw this back on.
And hand tight.
Hand tight. Hand tight.
That'll work.
Belt.
Belt.
Amazes me how these belts can stay on here and there ain't nothing holding them.
Well, what you do is put this back on first.
The little screws up here.
Okay, first you'll put the 4 long in the bottom 4.
4 long. That's these.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottom 4. These motors now, this is a SLX 2-speed motors. It's going to run at a higher speed and a much smoother cut. And they're going to run you $150 for the motor plus shipping. Everything else you can install it yourself. Is it this one?
Yeah. 2.5, right.
And then you can contact Eric or Wayne here to get the machine ordered or get this motor ordered and sent in. No trade-in on the old motors. You said they were vacuum cleaner motors. They're vacuum cleaner motors, so you can probably find somebody you can sell it to on eBay. But no trade-ins. But this will make your machine run a lot better. All the new machines going out are coming with the new motors. Alright, we'll put the motor cover back on the top here. This sits there and slides in. I got 2 little screws on either side here. That's snug. I snug this one. Now we got to put on, we had 2 long ones and 4 short ones. So the 2 long ones go up here.
With the washers?
With the washers. They got the washers on them. So they go in here and the 4 short ones go in the rest of the case.
It's basically converting the S into an SLX. It's the SLX motor. So for $150 you can turn your S into an SLX.
And they charge you a little more for that at Silca. So I put all the screws back in the case. Then once you get them all in place and they've taken, they put the last screw in, you can go back and snug everything down. Now you get them back and go tighten them all up.
Don't crack the case though, you might just snug them.
Yeah, it's plastic, so you don't want to use super torque, just snug them into place. Snug these and snug the little 2 holding the board. There we go. This Jim, Key Pro, here in Wayne's shop with Eric. We done replaced a 2-speed motor on my machine, and you can do it too. If you have a problem, give us a call. Thank you.